Hello and welcome! There are those who call me Bardbreaker, and for our last solo Pokemon challenge, we played through Pokemon Yellow using only a single muck. It was a fun way to get our feet wet with a solo Pokemon challenge, but it really wasn't much of a challenge per se. So let's try a harder one this week. Today we're going to ask and answer the question, is it possible to beat Pokemon Crystal using only a single Mareep? This one's going to be a lot harder than our last one. Mareep is a very weak Stage 1 Pokemon, and its overall base stats are actually lower than some starters like Bulbasaur. Our best stat is our special attack, and we will learn a move or two that'll make use of that, but these stats just don't look good at all. And our moveset doesn't inspire confidence either, take a look. We're going to start with Tackle and Growl, which are your standard starter moves. We do learn Thunder Shock at level 9 though, so we get a stab move early, but it's still not great. Other than that, we will learn Thunder later, but nothing else really worth noting by level up. We'll learn Thunder Wave, which could be useful for some paralysis luck, but in my experience, we don't usually get it. Our TM options aren't much better. Headbutt and Iron Tail are just about it. Could make some interesting plays with Rain Dance, which we can learn for some reason, because it will make Thunder 100% accurate, so we may have to give that a whirl at some point. Otherwise, some options could be Swagger and Double Team, but we don't get Double Team until Kanto, and Iron Tail is a gift from Jasmine. Speaking of Jasmine, she's gonna be brutal. But at least her Pokemon are only in the low level 30s, but we aren't gonna have anything that's going to be very good for her, unless maybe our hidden power type is good, but we won't know that for a while either. Lastly, before we start, let's take a look at the rules. Only Mareep in combat. I'll need other Pokemon for HMs, but they'll be left fainted whenever possible so they don't taint the run. No items in battle other than Pokeballs to catch our HM users. Held items will be allowed though. Finally, I won't be taking advantage of any glitches, cheats, or exploits. So with that out of the way, here's one final reminder. As always, I'm going to write this as we go, so at this point I haven't started yet. Everyone go ahead and comment down below if you think we can do it. I certainly think we can. I've seen people beat this game with Sunkern before, but we're probably going to have to be at or near level 100 to do it. And this is definitely going to take a while, and it doesn't help that I've actually never played through a Gen 2 game before. But hey, at least we can finally get a shiny counter on the channel now. Let's get going. I go ahead and use the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Totodile with Mareep. This way our rival will take Chikorita, and it'll give us the disadvantage in battle later on. We aren't weak to Grass, but Grass is going to resist our electric moves, so that'll at least give the rival the advantage. After taking Mareep, Professor Elm sends us to pick up an item from Mr. Pokemon, and away we go. Now, can I just ask, why do these games always start with us doing package delivery? What is this, Futurama, where we wake up in the future and we get assigned our career as a delivery boy? Anyway, we set out on our mission to find Mr. Pokemon, a man so thoroughly crazy that he's legally changed his name to Pokemon. That would be like someone changing their last name to Baconator. We find Mr. Baconator, Pokemon, north of Cherry Grove City, browsing with Professor Oak. He gives us a mysterious egg, and Professor Oak gives us our Pokedex before Professor Elm calls us to tell us something terrible has happened. I guess he's spilled his magic beans again? On our way back, we're accosted by a Spanish sailor, or a Portuguese pirate, or look, I don't know who he is. His name is question mark. We narrowly beat his Chikorita and get back to our lab. The police are there questioning Elm and ask us to report the guy's name. I tell them his name is Tim. I guess we're just gonna always name our rival Tim. And away we go. Since I don't know my way around Gen 2, I go back to Mr. Pokemon's house. Turns out this isn't the way to go, but I do catch two of my HM users here. Catch a Hoot Hoot for Fly and nickname it Flapsity II. Long may he fly. And a Poliwag that's interestingly only located here in Crystal and only at night. I nickname it Aquades II. Long may he swim. This gets two of my HM users out of the way early, and Poliwag will be especially useful because it not only learns Surf, but also Whirlpool and Waterfall, all of which I can only assume we'll be needing later. Okay, future me note, we only use Waterfall once. So what is the point of having an HM if you only make players use it once? That just seems like wasted space that could have gone to something else. Turns out this is actually the way I'm supposed to go. I just took the wrong fork in the road. We arrive in Violet City and decide to try our hand at the flying gym at our current level. And yeah, it's shockingly easy. I'll show myself out. We one-shot his Pidgey, and though his Pidgeotto gets a couple of mud slaps out, it goes down in 2 Thunder Shocks. We refuse to take the egg from Elm's assistant and press on. Okay, future me again. I find out later we actually have to take this egg to progress, so you can all laugh at me in the comments for trying to leave the guy here. I just wound up putting the eggs in the PC. After getting the HM for Flash from the top of Sprout Tower, we go back to Route 31 and catch 2 more of our HM Pokemon for later. I grab a Bellsprout for cut, nicknaming it Snipticus II. Long may he cut. And I catch a Spinnerack for flash, nickname it Flashelius II.
Long may he flash.
Now we're ready for Dark Cave. And Dark Cave wasn't where we needed to go. Turns out we need to go to Union Cave. See, I told you I have no clue where I'm going in this game. Union Cave is unremarkable, though we do catch a Geodude for strength and nickname it Bicepticus II.
Long may he lift.
As well as find the TM for Swift and immediately teach it to Mareep. It's still just a normal type move, but it's nearly twice as strong as Tackle, and it's always going to hit because it bypasses accuracy and evasion checks. Now we head to Azalea Town. Bugsy's gym is nearly as much of a joke as Faulkner's. He starts out with Metapod and Kakuna, both of whom are basically harmless. His Scyther could be a problem for some people, I guess, but 2 Thunder Shocks take care of it. I've seen people say that Crystal's gym leaders are low level, but yeah, this is almost too easy. I do know there's a Steel Gym coming though, and that's going to knock me on my butt, but until we get there, we're going to keep on rolling. On our way out of town, Tim shows up again and challenges us. Like I said, I've never done Gen 2, so I have no idea when these rival battles are going to pop up. His Ghastly goes down easy enough, but his Bayleaf does pose a challenge. We get off a Thunder Wave for paralysis, and he sets up a Reflect. We don't really have anything that's going to do a lot of damage here while his Reflect is up, and he lands a Poison Powder amongst some Razor Leaves. We eventually faint to our poison damage. We're going to have to try this again. Our second attempt goes much better. His Ghastly goes down to 1 Thunder Shock, and out comes his Bayleaf. We start off with a Thunder Wave for paralysis again, and he misses his Poison Powder. We get extremely lucky here as he stays fully paralyzed for 3 consecutive turns, and we chip away at him. We finally finish him off, and we didn't take any damage. Last out is his Zubat, which is part flying, so it's weak to Thunder Shock for an easy one-shot. See, that was much easier, but that shows exactly why I don't like the unreliability of status moves. Sometimes you get lucky, and other times you get 0 luck. It's seldom anywhere in between in my experience. Anyway, we make our way to Goldenrod, and let me just ask, who the hell designed the layout of this town? It's god-awful. We get to the gym, and it's time for the famous Whitney. Out first is Clefairy, and it doesn't actually do any shenanigans with Metronome. In fact, it never uses Metronome at all, and we beat it relatively easily. Second and last is her legendary Miltank. It goes for the signature rollout right away, but misses, and we try to land a Thunder Wave for disruption. She actually never tries rollout again, and instead just goes for Stomp. We eat a held berry because held items are allowed, and now that berry ends up saving us. We get down to red health, but so is she, and before she can land another hit, we land Thunder Shock for the win. Just beat Whitney on our first try, and she never even landed rollout. Nice. So because I don't know where I'm going, I spend an inordinate amount of time trying to figure out where we're actually supposed to go. We finally figure out how to find the water bottle to clear the Sudowoodo trees, and by figure it out, I mean I figured out how to look up a walkthrough on the internet. Now that we're past the Sudowoodos, we can advance to Ecruteak City. We defeat the Kimono Girls and their evolutions, and we get the HM for Sir from this weird old man sitting here watching them twirl. Anyway, we try our hand at the rival now at the Burn Tower. His Haunter lands a curse, and it's all over from there. We're able to defeat his Magnemite and nearly defeat his Bayleaf, but that curse chunks too much of our health. Guess we'll need to grind to get past him. Okay, so I spend what I think is about an hour trying to grind up 3 to 4 levels. I wanted to teach Mareep Thunder, and I forgot we actually learn it, so I was going to buy it from the Game Corner, which is incredibly expensive. Wondering what else I could do to level up, I started looking around and realized I can't access any of the rare candy in the game yet, so that was out. I finally settled on grinding, and I actually realized at this point Mareep does learn Thunder naturally at level 37. The only problem is grinding in this game is awful. Everything is so low level, and you get no XP from it. The best Pokemon I could actually find to grind are these Stantler here, and they're only level 14. We're literally just outside the 4th major town in this game, and we're still only encountering level 14 Pokemon. Why are things so weak in this game? Go ahead and replace Thunder Shock with Thunder, and now we should be able to one-shot the Haunter. Let's try this again. And no surprise here, now that we're able to get past his Haunter before it can use Curse, we have a much better time. That was a close one, but now it's time for the gym. Our only move that can hit is Thunder, and it only has 10 power points. Not only that, statistically 3 of 10 of those are going to miss. So it's not the most reliable move, but it's really all we have. We fight our way through the trainers until we reach this last old biddy here. We go into the battle with 6 Thunders left for her 4 Pokemon, meaning we have 2 that we can afford to miss with. We miss once, but we end up at her final Ghastly under Curse from the Haunter before it, but we have 3 Thunders left, so we should be able to lick this in the bud before Curse takes us down. We go for Thunder, and of course it misses. Her Ghastly then goes for Spite, which reduces our PP for Thunder by 2 and leaves us with 0. I have no PP left for Thunder. We can't use Headbutt or Swift on her ghosts. Now we're gonna lose, and we just have to sit here until it happens. Spite! That's a brutal way to go, losing to spite. We get past her in our next attempt though, and it's time for Morty. On paper, it seems easy enough. We're quite a few levels higher than his team, and Thunder does get stabbed, so we're doing major damage. When we hit. Fortunately, his team isn't really doing much, so we wind up with 4 Thunders left for his final Hunter. We go for our first, and of course it misses again. He uses Spite, and I think you see where this is going, which takes away 3 PP this time and leaves me with 0. Oh, what the heck is this? This is so dumb. I've never seen a more dumb way to lose a Pokemon battle. If we just had slightly better accuracy luck leading into that final Haunter, we'd have points left. Let's try it again. After a couple more failed attempts, we finally get the run we need on our 5th attempt here. We actually miss our first Thunder on this Ghastly, allowing it to get off Curse, but we wind up one-shotting the rest of his team, including the Gengar, and finally take the badge. Now we can finally get out of this town and actually use Surf. We make it to Olivine and climb the lighthouse, only to find the gym leader Jasmine sending us on another errand to Cianwood City for medicine. Again, why am I the only errand boy in this entire countryside? Where's UPS? Where's FedEx? Where's the Ponyta Express? Anything! We surf our way there and decide to take on the fighting gym, and we predictably don't have any trouble. We're so much higher level than his Pokemon that one Thunder takes out each of them. Assuming it hits. We knock out his Primeape and his Poliwrath with these and claim our next badge. Now it's time to loot the pharmacy for some of that sweet, whatever it was we're supposed to get. She just said medicine at the pharmacy. That's super vague. What does she want? This? These? Medicine from the pharmacy is super vague. We need more instructions. After we get this man's secret potion, yeah, nothing suspicious about that at all, we take it back to Jasmine at the tower. She asks if it's going to make Ampharos better, and all I can think is, you're the one who sent me to get this. Don't you know what it is or how it works? But before I can answer, she forces it down the sick Pokemon's throat, and the goop instantly heals it. That was lucky. In any case, it's time for her to head back to the Steel Gym and for us to give it a go. Yeah, I'm not confident. We can actually one-shot her Magnemites with Thunder, even though it's not very effective, but her Steelix is a completely different story. It's part ground, so it's immune to our Thunder and Thunder Wave. Not much option here but to try and keep headbutting it, and that doesn't do much damage. We do have a chance to flinch it though, and her Iron Tail does miss. We end up getting it down to about 60% health before fainting. This is certainly going to be possible, it's just going to be hard. But before grinding, I actually decide to figure out what my hidden power is. It's a move whose type varies randomly from Pokemon to Pokemon when the Pokemon is generated. Even 2 of the same Pokemon are not going to have the same type. And there's no way to know what you have without using the move. I go ahead and make a save in case we have a terrible type, and we replace Swift with Hidden Power. It won't bypass evasion stats like Double Team, but it is going to be 100% accurate, and it is 60 power, so let's see what happens. We go back to Olivine and look for something to use it on. We find a super effective result off this Tentacool, which narrows it down pretty well. Tentacool is water and poison, so that means our hidden power has to either be electric, which would be incredibly unhelpful, ground, or psychic. We go find something else to use it on, and we get a super effective hit off this Magnemite, which is electric and steel. Electric wouldn't be very effective, and psychic would be neutral, so with that in mind, we know our hidden power is ground. That's actually really good, because it's super effective on steel and might actually work well for us. So let's go ahead and try Jasmine again. We one-shot her Magnemite with hidden power, but we could already do that with Thunder, so I guess it's an improvement for accuracy at least. Her Steelix comes out though, and we're still barely scratching it, even with registering super effective double damage. Well, it's gonna do more than headbutt at least. We do whittle it down and get her to burn a Hyper Potion, but we're still gonna need to level up more to finish this fight. But at least we got it below half. We're making progress, folks. But it's time to grind, so let's go back to Mahogany Town and take care of business up there and see if we can get some XP in the process. Team Rocket HQ in Mahogany Town is annoying, but it's not hard at all. We're over twice the level of literally everything here, including the executive's Pokemon, but we have to escape a couple of times due to the lack of power points and go back in again. We do clear the place out, we get the HM for Whirlpool for Aquades, and we try our luck at the local gym. It's the Ice Gym time. We battle all the trainers here to get as much XP as we can before we take on Price. I didn't heal up first, so we're actually going in with low PP. All 3 of my remaining Thunders miss on his opening seal. That's a 2.1% chance of that happening for those of you doing math at home, and we're left with Headbutt and Hidden Power to finish this. His Piloswine comes out next, and it's a battle wearing it down, but we get some flinch luck and are able to knock it out despite Price using his Hyper Potion. His last Pokemon out is a Dugong. It hits hard with a crit Aurora Beam, but we're still so overleveled, or maybe everything in this game is just underleveled, and we eventually hit it with a headbutt for the knockout. I'm not sure we're strong enough for Jasmine yet, but we can go give it another try. So we grind up a few levels to level 54, and my god does this take a while because everything is so low level. And we make another couple attempts before we finally get a good run. There's really not any strategy here, it's literally just me hitting hidden power over and over again until we get a decent amount of luck with her Iron Tail missing and our high damage rolls before we finally take it down. I really wish there was more to talk about here, but there really isn't. It's just who hits who first before knocking the other one out. Fortunately, she only has one hyper potion, or at least only uses one. But we finally beat the Steel Gym, and now the rest of this game should be much easier. At least until the end. We get the TM for Iron Tail, which we can learn, and we'll keep that in our back pocket for now and continue on. We get a call from Professor Elm to go take care of Team Rocket at the radio tower in Goldenrod City. Why I have to do the police's job, I'll never know. As they have all game, they pose absolutely no trouble, and we defeat the imposter director at the top, and we're told where to find the real one. We get to the underground and are accosted by Tim once again. His team doesn't really pose much of a challenge, though. We do miss a Thunder and end up confused, but eventually get to his Meganium. This thing is beefy, and we end up paralyzed from his body slam, but we eventually bypass his Reflect with a Thunder for the knockout. We get through the ice path easy enough thanks to a walkthrough. I really don't have time for geometry puzzles here. And we make it to Blackthorn City for the Dragon Gym. Her trainers and strength puzzles aren't anything special, and neither are her first 3 Dragonaires, which all go down in 2 headbutts. We head to her Kingdra, though, paralyzed and missing some health. We get hit with Dragon Breath, then we break through paralysis, but miss a Thunder. We barely survive a Hyper Beam, and we're fully paralyzed. Not looking good. Fortunately, Kingdra has to recharge, though, and we break through paralysis for a second Thunder for the knockout. After getting the final badge from the old geezer at the shrine, it's time for the Victory Road and the Elite Four. Our rival fight as we exit Victory Road isn't anything special. We take down pretty much all of his team in 1 or 2 hits. Even the Meganium goes down with 2 Thunders. It's time for the Elite Four. Before our first fight, here's our stats. Everyone comment down below if you think we have what it takes. Let's see what happens. Will's a Psychic trainer, but most of his Pokemon are dual-typed. We one-shot through most of his team. We take a Psychic from his Jinx and a Leech Seed from Exeggutor, but we finish the fight very easily and move on to Koga. Koga, just like in Kanto, is pretty easy enough as well. We actually don't take any damage from him at all. We do get hit with Toxic, but we're able to land Thunder on his Crobat before taking any damage. We go ahead and heal up, remove our status afflictions, and our first attempt at Bruno doesn't go very well. We take some damage off his Hitmontop before taking it down. His Onix gets a Sandstorm going before landing a major Earthquake to end it. Alright, let's try that again and see if we can go in with more health on that Onix. Our second attempt gets us past Hitmontop with a single Thunder. His Onix sets up a Sandstorm again, and even though we get past it, we don't have enough health to deal with what's left, and we go down to the Sandstorm. We're going to need to be higher level. Okay, so actually before we start grinding a ridiculous amount again, I remember we have the TM for Iron Tail in the bag. I go ahead and teach that to Mareep over Thunder Wave and give it another go. And it does a lot more damage against that Onix. Wow. Unfortunately, he does set up a Sandstorm, so we're going to take a fair bit of damage through the fight, and ultimately we go down against his Machamp. But I feel that this can be done now, so let's try this again with Iron Tail and see where we get. And about a dozen attempts later, we finally get a run that goes our way. One of the biggest problems is that Thunder and Iron Tail have huge accuracy holes and we can miss with them. But we finally get a run where all our stuff hits, and we're actually able to take him down. I did have to ether up my Thunder before going in, but we're good. So on to the next trainer. Our first attempt against the Dark trainer goes poorly. We have some terrible accuracy luck against her Umbreon, and it's just downhill from there. Let's scrap that and try it again. Our second attempt goes much better. We get through the Umbreon, though we're confused, and we wind up hitting ourselves a couple of times. We have red health when we get to her Gengar, and it goes for Curse. This doesn't look good, but we're very fortunate with Thunder. We one-shot the Houndoom, and her last Pokemon is a Murkrow. Not only do we not have a lot of health left, if we miss this last Thunder, we're sure to faint from the Curse. Fortunately, Thunder hits, and we win the match. On to the champion. And yeah, Lance mops the floor with us. That we don't even need to go over that. That was bad. We're close, though. If we can just one-shot his Dragonites with Thunder, we should be able to do this. Let's get a few levels and come back. Alright, so after what seemed like an ungodly amount of time grinding on the underleveled Pokemon, I feel like this is the 3rd or 4th time I've complained about it, but it's just so bad it's worth repeating. Even in Victory Road, they're terribly low-leveled. This is compounded by the fact that I forgot to save and I lost 3 levels grinding. We go out of our way to find as many rare candies as we can, and we finally challenge the Elite Four again at level 72. I've also equipped the pink bow to Mareep. It's a held item, which is allowed, and it will boost the strength of normal moves like Headbutt later. The Elite Four is rough, but doable. We have some amazing accuracy luck, and we eventually get to the champion Lance again. Gyarados is out first, and it's 4 times weak to Electric and goes down to a Thunder. His next 2 Dragonites, although not weak to Thunder, also go down in a single Thunder each. His third survives, and I'm convinced is going to get Hyper Potioned, but no, we take it down with a Headbutt. Next out is his Charizard, and it's part flying, so it's weak to Electric, and it goes down in a single Thunder. Last out is his Aerodactyl, which is also weak to Electric. This is really fortunate here. And it goes down, and that's it, folks. We've beaten the Elite Four and the Johto region with only a single Mareep. We get it into the Hall of Fame, the credits roll, but as you're probably aware, that's not the end of our journey in this game. No, that'd be too easy. Now we get access to the Kanto region, and we'll still have to battle Blue and Red at the end of that. I feel like those may be doable, but we're definitely not going to be high enough at our current level. So we're going to skip most of Kanto because overall it's pretty unremarkable. Crystal really shrinks the Kanto region down, and the towns are all right next to each other. So we finished 7/8 of Kanto in record time, and it's time for Blue, who's now the gym leader of Viridian City. After about 10 or so failed attempts, I decided to grind out to level 85 and try again. Pokemon are a little bit higher level in Kanto because it's deeper into the game, but it's still not great. I do find the leftovers in Celadon City and replace my pink bow. My Headbutt's not going to do as much damage now, but leftovers is going to let us regain health each turn, which is going to be better in my opinion. Unfortunately, at this point, I actually turned off the recording because it was just pointless grinding, and I forgot to turn it back on to record the fight with Blue. I didn't realize until I had saved after beating Blue, so I'm kinda pissed about that, but here's the recap. His Pidgeot is out first and lands a quick attack, but we OHKO it with Thunder. Out next is his Rhydon, and we land an Iron Tail for major damage, but it's not enough for a one-shot. It responds by setting up Sandstorm. Why does everything know Sandstorm in this game? Fortunately, our leftovers are essentially going to mitigate most of the damage, and we try for a knockout with Headbutt since it's at low health, but I forget I took off the bow, so now Headbutt does less damage. This allows Rhydon to get off a Fury attack, which hits 3 or 4 times, but we survive and knock it out with another Headbutt. Out next is his Alakazam. We're faster than it though, so we one-shot it with Thunder. Next out is his Executor, which we hit with Thunder for major damage despite the type resistance, and it responds by charging Solar Beam. We land a Headbutt and finish it. Next out is his Arcanine. It's scary and can hit us for major damage with Flamethrower, but we outspeed it, somehow, and we land a Thunder for a one-shot. Finally, last out is his Gyarados, and just like with Lance, it's 4 times weak to electric moves, so one Thunder is going to do it, but we actually miss, but instead of the Gyarados actually doing anything worthwhile, it sets up a Rain Dance. Rain Dance allows Thunder to bypass accuracy and evasion when it's in play, so we're going to hit our next one no matter what. And with that, we win the fight with Blue. I'm sorry I didn't get it on camera. I forgot I turned the recording off while grinding, and I got caught up in all my attempts against Blue. I'll make sure we get the fight with Red, though. Speaking of Red, it's time for the final fight. And yeah, our first attempt does not go well. So I found the best spot to grind is actually the Elite Four, just beating them over and over again. So we did that a few times, and we used the last 2 of the rare candy that I could find in this game. There's really not many in this one, as opposed to some later gens. And we get our Mareep up to level 92. I also decided to cheese it and replace Hidden Power with Double Team. I know this is cheesy and some of you may not like it, but I just really can't deal with Red Snorlax and its damn body slams. So let's break down the fight. It takes a few attempts, but we finally get a run that's looking promising. Pikachu's out first like usual, and because he's garbage stat-wise, this is the time to take and set up our 6 double teams for maximum evasion. Even without them, we would be fine, as his Thunder doesn't do much, plus our leftovers are going to heal us anyway, but we're going to need that evasion for later. Once we have our 6 double teams in place, we take out the Pikachu with a single Thunder. Espeon's out next and outspeeds us to land a Swift. Unfortunately, we're just a skoch underleveled, so our Thunder doesn't one-shot it, but we do paralyze it and we take it out with a Headbutt. Out next is his Snorlax, and my god, this was a legit nightmare and a half. We land a Thunder right out of the gate and get the paralysis. Snorlax misses his Body Slam, and this looks like we're in good shape. Unfortunately, our next Thunder misses, which would have almost certainly knocked out the Snorlax, but now it rests. The rest of this battle is literally just me hitting Snorlax over and over, while it occasionally lands a Snore or a Body Slam in between using more rests. I don't want to keep wasting my Thunder, I need those for what's left to come, so we're literally just left trying to use Headbutt and Iron Tail. This was legit like 5 minutes of just back and forth, using moves that are running down my PP when I could actually even land the already inaccurate moves in the first place. Finally, we break through paralysis, we get past the flinching, and we're finally able to take his Snorlax down. But my god, that was bad. Next is his Venusaur, and we're paralyzed, which isn't great, so it outspeeds us and goes for Solar Beam. We do a bit of damage with Headbutt, and we hope to flinch it, but we don't get it. But Solar Beam misses, and we land Iron Tail. It charges another Solar Beam, and we try for another flinch with Headbutt, but don't get it again. Fortunately, his Solar Beam does miss again. Although we are fully paralyzed, his Venusaur starts using Synthesis. This goes back and forth a few times before I finally decide to burn another Thunder, which misses, and bring back Venusaur to low health as it sets up Sunny Day. We land Iron Tail to finish it as he sends out Blastoise. Now we're still outsped due to being paralyzed, but Blastoise decides the wisest thing it could possibly do is set up Rain Dance. So, there we go. Now we're gonna win. Thunder's not going to miss in Rain Dance, so we take out Blastoise in one shot. Charizard's out next. Just like the last 2 or 3 times I've mentioned it, it's part flying, so it's weak to electric moves. It'll land a Flamethrower for a bit of damage, but our Thunder lands thanks to Rain Dance. Thank you, Blastoise. And we OHKO it for the win. Mother of God, that fight felt brutal, mostly just due to the Snorlax. We had to spend a fair bit of time on that before we got an attempt that actually went our way, but there you have it, folks. We've beaten Pokémon Crystal using just a single Mareep. This took a lot longer than our Muck challenge. Muck is stronger stat-wise, it's fully evolved, and it had access to a more varied moveset. We had to muddle through with what Mareep had open to it. For some reason, Mareep can't learn Thunderbolt. That would have made this game much easier. Plus, I've never played Crystal, so a fair bit of time spent during this was just me looking up how to get through some areas, and it didn't help that, on top of the Johto region, it has Kanto tacked onto the end too. But we did it, guys. We did it. Not sure what the next run's going to be. We'll probably do Gen 3, which I haven't played at all either. And those are going to be entirely new to me, but it'll make things hard, but we'll see what happens. In any case, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell to be notified of the next one, and go catch 'em all.